Ladies and gentlemen, Unscripted with the Crackman, Bill Krackomberger.
Good morning, guys.
Man, is there a better intro
I
in
want
the
to
game?
tell you something.
Is there a better intro?
So I've been reading some of the comments, which I normally don't because you never have time to read comments. And they're right. That intro music is fantastic.
It's fantastic.
It really is, and it's an honor. And
Kelley played all the instruments. And
oh yeah,
played all the instruments. Kelley did.
I didn't even know that.
No.
You're a man of many things.
I went to Zach's new place and just tried out every instrument.
He's got really good acoustics.
That's right.
Yeah, this is what over there. Sorry, inside joke.
No, good.
Anyway, but it's for a grand intro for a grand personality.
Well, I appreciate it. I have too much stuff to talk about today. We won't get to it all on an unscripted show, which is normally unscripted, but it's still going to be unscripted because you don't know what I'm going to talk about.
I don't know what you're going to talk about.
So many things and so many helpful things. At least I feel they're helpful things. And as usual, I'll probably get myself in trouble with other professional sports bettors. Why are you telling the public that? But yeah, no, there's just so many different things. Can I start right out?
You can start, or I can start with one.
No, you start with one. I feel better.
I want to say one thing positive.
I have.
Let me start with a positive.
I have one thing positive.
BetMGM yesterday with a brand new app for the state of Nevada.
Oh, I got the email.
BetMGM Nevada. Now, the Kelley Bydlons of the world and the Matt Browns of the world seamlessly got in. There's a group of us where it wasn't quite as seamless, but we're going to get in there today. You, Kelley, immediately said it's immediately the best app in Nevada.
Yeah, I think I texted you and Matt Brown that it was. I might be overreacting considering I just downloaded it 3 hours ago, but immediately jumps to the top of the apps.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because you're not having the same Caesars issues where it's kicking you out. So everything moves smoothly. You can get in easily.
Yeah.
I thought they did a great job with the email that they sent detailing how everything would work. It was very thorough.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have any questions when I went to download it. It immediately transferred over all my stuff from the other app. The app is seamless to move through and bet and live betting options galore. I'm can't wait to check it out more as it goes. But day one, I was very impressed.
I said to them, that's a good comeback from it. Not having listed all the tennis matches every day for the last 2 weeks, which was ridiculous. But good on BetMGM for having a brand new app in Nevada. Good. And I just want to point out about Caesars because we've crushed their app, rightfully so. Since its inception here, since it's not inception, but since the latest version of it, which is just bug-filled and reboots you 100 times. Our buddy Eric Biggio letting me know that they are now addressing this matter internally.
That's so good.
They are going to do something about it.
That's good that he listens to the show.
Yes.
And he actually will pass things along to his boss/bosses. And because, we're just a small microcosm but for every one of us guys that are talking, maybe someone comes into town for the weekend and they want to play and they put money on the app and they say, this app compared to the app, this app, I'm not playing this no more. Yeah. So now you lose Joe Public. Yeah. So it's good to know that these things are happening. Not that he didn't know already, but it's just good to hear it from us too.
All of this under the context of, hey, we wish we had DraftKings to bet on here where we could bet multiple things and,
I mean, I've heard it from a couple people, but when Super Bowl week rolls around and all these people roll into Vegas, I think it's going to be like one of the first times where it is a mass group of people that are like, wait, what is going on with betting in Nevada?
Yeah. So anyway, shout out BetMGM, shout out Caesars for trying to fix theirs.
Yeah, and I'm sure they will eventually. I'm just wondering, guys, so you guys know, I have a friend of mine that just texted me. He said, of all days, I cannot get on the VSiN app, so whatever that means. Or he can't get VSiN today. I don't know. And back east, so maybe it's not the VSiN app, but it's
VSiN.com.
VSiN.com, right?
Is where he needs to go, yeah.
Right. Did they close the app?
They did.
They did?
Yeah.
I don't blame them. The money's not rolling in like the old days. Start closing things. All right, so let me explain. Let me read this to you, all right?
I'm sorry, what? Go ahead. Yeah.
Let me read this to you about. So I want a lot of the sports books to know that this year, for the sharpest sports betting syndicates in the world, the NFL props have not been anything special. So this comes from multiple groups of very sharp people I know, including my buddy who gives me a ton of things, and of course like the Hitman, very sharp guy, Hitman, at Hitman428 on Twitter, very sharp guy. It's very, very difficult this year because, perfect example, I think it was 4 p.m. the other day, like right after the first set of games. I actually have a text that I'll read to you. This is at 4:05 p.m. FanDuel already has lines up for player props on the NFC title games. This was last Sunday, like right after the game started ending. So they're barely taking anything. So they don't. They take $100 on them. But there's people posting anything that looks halfway decent by the end of the night. So therefore, the $100 limits at FanDuel and maybe even DraftKings by the night. So that irons out the props because just like when I was at Pinnacle back in the 90s, I remember the great Stanley Thompson. We could say these names now because with the $50,000 per game in the Hong Kong market, I watched them do it. So I know what happens. So take little bets, bet out large bets. That's not what's happening here. All I'm saying is those little bets will iron out the market, believe it or not, in volume. And therefore, it's made for a very difficult year this year. But let me be even more blunt. Even though the DraftKings, FanDuels, all these other sports books of the world made it really fun for prop bettors for a while, pre these sports books coming to the United States, it was much easier for us prop guys.
Yeah.
It was much easier because the props didn't come out until day of the game.
Well, the Super Bowl prop season, so let's forward ahead to next week, right? That has always been, so like Rufus landed in town, like this is his time of year, Rufus Peabody, so we'll get him on the show and on the podcast.
But I'm very excited. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, he is obviously, that was the thing he was most known for, was doing these Super Bowl props. And what Bill is talking about is a time when, the old school, and the Westgate would announce, here's when our props are up. They would do it every time, and you'd do the whole get to the front of the line, and then you'd have to go to the back of the line after you made a certain limit bet or two, and then you'd have to do it, and it was a system. Whereas in recent years, the knowledge of when each sports book's Super Bowl props would come out here in Las Vegas always became more vague. And so there was a time where we would go up and down the strip. William Hill has them on. South Point has them on. It's vague now.
100%.
You just don't know.
That's the way it was.
That's the way it was. You just don't know now when it's happening.
I used to bother Jay overnight. When are they coming out? You're right about that. I forgot about it. See, I forgot.
This is as short as like 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
Yes.
It's
recent history.
When I moved out here, this is what was going on. It wasn't that long ago.
Yep.
Yeah. I just got a text from someone I was saying about the app. One of the sponsors of one of the shows I do on the weekend, Fox Show, I understand. I get it. After football season, they're going to be looking. He just texted me, amazingly. He said they're going to be looking at where they're having burn. So maybe on their app and stuff. He just said, he just texted me, it costs $40,000. This can't be. $40,000 a month for their app. $40,000 a month to run a sportsbook app.
To run it.
Yeah. Holy moly. $500,000 a year just to run an app. So anyway. All right. I got a lot of things when we
He's
get back.
got a list. He's got a list. He's checking it twice. Oh, that's not that. I'm sorry. More Unscripted with Crackman. Bill Krackomberger at Bill Crackman with a K. The name of the podcast, Wise Cracks with Bill. It's Gill Alexander. It's Kelley Bydlon. It's Bill Krackomberger. Unscripted with the Crackman. Bill Krackomberger at Bill Crackman with a K. The name of his podcast is Wise Cracks with John Orlando.
Yes.
And Bill Krackomberger, John Orlando, Tony Orlando's son.
Yes, who just finished his Las Vegas, his retirement. He had 3 shows at the South Point. He is now officially retired from Las Vegas. His final shows he's going up to Niagara Falls for 3 shows, then going to Atlantic City, and then finishing at Mohegan Sun in Connecticut.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Know the whole schedule.
Yeah. Party's over. Yeah. So
Party's over.
He's gonna, like he said, he's 79.
79.
He's gonna be 80.
Enjoy your life.
Frankie Valli was yelling at him when I was with him and Frankie Valli a couple weeks ago. Frankie Valli saying, "You're not retiring. That's crazy. Why are you?" And he tells John, "Why are you letting your dad retire so young?" Because he's 80 and he's gonna be 90 in May. But anyway. I did get the BetMGM. It worked, guys. So these guys were right. Kelley was right. Delete the old apps, put the new one in, and came right up BetMGM Nevada. And
yeah, but did you get in though?
Oh, I didn't put the email, but at least it says Nevada. Then.
Well, I got that far.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I got to Nevada. I got to Nevada. I couldn't get in after that. You have a list.
No, well, first I wanted to say that's why it's so much harder. So what I'm saying is these sports books that are booking props, which are most of them, they are in too much fear. What's the word? When they're more scared than they should be, charging $1.15 or even $1.20 each way. And I'm telling you, from a pro standpoint, a guy that has crushed props over the years, that it's not what it used to be because the markets are open so early for such little amounts. So I would, it just, the fear is too much. You guys are I would book props from from anyone actually. I would at minus 120 on each side. Fire away. Just limit to a nickel or a dime or something. But
so this is not as big an event as it once was for you. Super Bowl props when it happens next week.
Well, now Super Bowl props is different. We're talking. I'm talking about throughout the year. Weekly props. Super Bowl props are different. There's so many of them. They have pamphlets and packets of props where, let's just be blunt, the bookmaker cannot get every one of them right. There's just too many things for them to get right. Even though they have their meetings and specialize in them, and let me tell you, props to DraftKings because they must have their own little team because the last couple of years they've had them up first. So where years ago we would love for in Nevada here. Gill's right. I used to text the different guys and say, when are they coming up? When are they coming up? Give us a week. So literally they would come up the weekend before, 7 days. If you're putting up your props, Super Bowl props, 7 days before the Super Bowl and waiting that long,
it's over.
You're going to be last.
Yeah.
People are going to be betting other places.
Well, the formulaic ones, right? The ones that they just, copy and paste from a previous year, those can be up right after the championship games, no problem. But then the more creative ones, they go through the week. But they are getting up earlier and earlier. So, yeah, if you're waiting a week, forget it. It's over.
No, but that still may be the way it may be. So I just wanted to say that how much harder it is to – I wish they'd pass that along to not only the risk management guys, I wish they'd pass that along to the directors and the people that are up in the safety perches of their office don't even know what it is in risk and how much stress it is. Because it is stress for the guys in risk. Because you know why? You have the guys that are upstairs, and then you have the guys that are up above them that just think, oh, we're in the gambling business. We have to win. The players have to lose. People lose. No. There could be certain weeks where players can win. So the guys down in risk have so much stress on them because if they lose on a certain thing, or especially an overnight line where we're talking about last week about Boyd and they're so put at so much pressure on them because if someone comes in and bets a lot of money and wins on their shift, so what they're doing is they're just denying bets and taking 20 grocery dollar bets and actually doing what they're not supposed to be doing, taking more volume, the more, especially at the juice I'm talking about.
I always tell the story about, I've said it every year, so forgive me for those who've heard it before, but it's, let's take the old school bookmakers, our buddies Chrissy and Vinny and Jimmy over at the South Point. They put up their props as well, and, might not be as vast as some other places, but they have their own vast amount of props too. It's not like it's small. And so the first VSiN Super Bowl, the first time we were on air, was during the Patriots-Falcons Super Bowl, the famous 28-3 Falcons lead. And I was on air with Brent for the first half that year. This is January or early February, whatever date it fell on, of 2017, early February 2017. I was on air first half with Brent, and the second half, I went back and watched the game with Chrissy and Vinny back there in the South Point offices, and this is during the Patriots' comeback from 28-3, and I'll bring up Rufus again. Rufus, who goes after these numbers, he, with his numbers, can exploit any little inefficiency you have, right? So the Patriots landing on 9 exactly, he had it for 6 figures. Because it was mispriced, okay? And in the Patriots' comeback from 28-3, they landed at one point on 9. I don't know if it was a touchdown and a missed extra point, or if it was 2 field goals. I want to say it was I don't know what it was, but it got to 9. And for a period of about 15 minutes of real time, which at the moment, in the moment, felt to Chrissy like an eternity, right? But he knew he was on the hook because he didn't realize it till he was just checking. He was randomly checking all his races like, oh, my God, I have a 9. I have 6 figures liability. Oh, my God. So, like, for those 15 minutes, which were only 15 minutes of real time, but, again, to him it felt like it was way more than that, he had to sweat that number happen. Now, obviously, the Patriots got past the 9, and they ended up winning the game, and they ended up covering it, for God's sakes. But that's just an example of how it – is at certain shops with Super Bowl props. And to your point, Bill, because there's so many of them, that the notion of them being able to cover themselves on every one of them is a fallacy.
Let me tell you something. That group was I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that's the best prop group I've ever seen and worked with. It was Little Zach,
Big
Rufus,
Zach,
Big Zach,
Train,
Mark, Train.
Yep.
That was the biggest group, those guys.
Yeah.
Probably the most successful group ever betting props was that group. That's pre-DraftKings. It's pre. I'm not going to say pre. Probably the first couple of years when all the sports books were taking.
It was pre-DraftKings.
Yeah, that was the best group ever betting props. They still bet them, and they're still very successful, actually, as far as I know. But this particular year and the last, I'll say 2 seasons, it's tougher when you have the books opening up props, a full week before the games on any given Sunday. So it's tougher. That's one thing. Now, this is a sensitive area because it's a friend of yours and actually a friend of mine now because of you, Dave Check, that asked us to go on that show. Now, I watched it last week. Did you watch it? Did you watch the Discovery?
The sizzle reel.
No, the Discovery show.
No.
What's it called? Gamblers, Thieves, and something?
No, I didn't see it.
You didn't see it?
No.
Okay, let's see. Discovery show on gambling.
Okay.
Discovery
Is the show itself on or just a promo for the show?
No, the first episode. The first episode was out.
Wait, they already turned around a first episode?
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Are you kidding me?
Isn't it unbelievable? I was actually going to say, how can that be so fast?
Are you sure?
I mean, the name's a good name. Hustlers, Gamblers, and Crooks. There's episode 1 right there.
Wait, we were interviewed for a show called Hustlers, Gamblers, and Crooks?
That's what they named it.
Wait a minute.
That's what they named the show.
They failed to mention that.
Hustlers, Gamblers, and Crooks premieres on Discovery Channel.
Feels like I really hope I fall in the middle one.
God, I hope I didn't get in that movie.
No, we interviewed for it. I gave the guy over an hour, the producer, his assistant, gave them a lot of good information, and they were just looking for polarizing characters. Let me be honest with you. Dave, I love you. Good guy. Your boys here, whoever they were over there, thinking they're.
Yeah, but let's just be clear. He's not involved.
No, Dave's not involved.
Yeah.
No, Dave was just trying to help the guy.
Yeah.
They're just looking for buzz and stuff. They put on there 3 guys. One was the guy Mickey Moss. He tattoos all over his face and tattoos. And I know he was winning in the casino, by the way. I know he was winning.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I remember him. Listen, I'm a mathematical guy. I'm a believer in the game itself. You can't tell me that you're playing Baccarat, even though it's a low-hold game. Let's call it 1.5%. A 1.5% house game, and now you're telling people listen, I have a system. It wins. They threw me out of the casino for it, and if you want to buy it, it's $50 million, and that's what he said.
Billy, are you sure this is the same show?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So what were we interviewed for? Subsequent season or something?
I don't know.
Kelly's dying in the corner.
And you know what?
I pulled up the show, too, and I'm trying to figure out where you guys fit in as well.
I got to tell you something. And if I'm wrong, because now you're saying this, if I'm wrong, I apologize. But I think it was the Discovery show.
Yeah, it was a Discovery. You're right about that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And the first episode was on, and but he came on and said that he has a system. And
could you imagine how bored they must have been talking to me? They'd be like, "Oh, this guy's never going to work."
I'm watching the intro just play right now.
They chased the guy. He's got $4.5 million in the cash in the back seat. He's running out of the casino, and he's trying to say the casino sent people to steal the money back off of him.
Oh, God.
How can you guys? What kind of due diligence did you guys do for this show?
Jeez.
So listen. I understand you're saying the guy. He claims to be a winning gambler that was thrown out of every casino in town. Bill Krackomberger personally knows a lot of things, though. I know a lot of casino executives. I know some of the reasons, and it wasn't because you had an advantage. Trust me. Yes, you have a lot of money. You sent a lot of money in, whatever it may be. I personally know of something where he sent $9.5 million, and someone else sent it in for him. They sent it back. But let me just tell you though, you could tell me you won the money playing blackjack, ace sequencing, shuffle tracking, not even counting or doing something, hole carding, but you can't tell me you won in baccarat and they're throwing you out of the casino and chasing you down for the $4.5 million to steal it back off you. I mean, are people that gullible out there? The answer is yes.
It's amazing that after all these years, these shows still do the same central casting nonsense and lack of reality.
It's unbelievable.
More with the Crackman Unscripted Numbers Game, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, coming back. Hi, Gill Alexander. We get tweets at Beating the Book. Eddie Vegan Runner. Hi, Gill. I'd like to interview you for my new show, Hustlers, Thieves, Crooks, and Sushi Places.
Hey, that's a good tweet. Who sent that in? That
Eddie
was good.
Vegan Runner. That's outstanding. Eric Biggio, our buddy over at Caesars, he goes, to the hoop, y'all. We talked about him in the Caesars app, and the fix of the Caesars app. All he wants to talk about is the Curtis Blow lyrics from basketball that Zach Cohen stumbled into earlier. He says, P.S., when your 13-year-old asks you why there was karate fighting going on in a video called Basketball, my only response was, it was the 80s. It's so true. It's just like, you look back on some of that stuff, you're like, now why did the video producer decide? Johnny Ringo, Hustlers, Gamblers, and Crooks, as well as Crack with Zach. Things sure are taking a turn here. Let's see. Oh, yeah. SoCal Fantasy. Wish I could hear Gill calling his agent over the break. There's no agent here, but I hear what you're saying. Let's see. Okay. We'll
I just have this playing in the background now, by the way, really hoping
it's the cheesiest
of the cheesy. Really hoping that Gill just pops on the screen at some moment.
And I apologize because you're right, Gill. I'm looking at my emails. That was 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, there's
How
no way.
can this be turned around that fast?
That's not ours.
This must be a total different scam show.
It's got to be.
No, because these guys couldn't be this dumb, right?
They couldn't be. Could they?
By the way, there was 3 people on the show. The pool player, believe it or not, the pool player is the most legitimate. I checked him out, my buddy in Scranton.
I want to hang out with this guy.
Legitimate pool player, won a lot of money on the road. He absolutely knows. I have a road pool player that I know that traveled all around the country making money. That guy's legit. The other guy was a roulette dealer in Atlantic City that couldn't keep his mouth shut, and he gave away $500,000, he said, to players. He cheated with them, but then he said he did not get caught, and he didn't get in any trouble. So I don't know.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, he got no trouble.
All joking aside, I think your point there at the end of the last segment is the best one, which is, so we do this for a living. We do these shows 5 days a week. We're betting 360 days of the year.
Yes.
And we live the life. And then when you see these shows pop up from time to time, you would think, I don't know, how naive, that eventually these shows would become a true reflection of how the world is in our little corner of the world. And yet, here we are now in 2024, and this is what they have. And you're just like, this is never going to end.
Yeah. And you know what? Your words, like I got this off you. You said this one time 5-6 years ago. We're too close to the sun, though.
Oh, I've said it
We're
more than
legit.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. But the most of the public, the 99.5, they see this and they're fascinated. Wow, this is unbelievable what this guy did.
Okay, so even with action, right? Even with ours, we were in action with Todd.
Sure.
You guys were. I was just said a word or two.
You were in there.
No, I said a word or two. You guys were featured. And so the point of that was, the concern from us was, again, one of the people you're featuring, and everybody knows him, is the biggest charlatan of them all.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, don't worry. We expose him so clearly on this documentary, people will see what a complete ridiculous thing this guy is.
I still don't agree with that.
Well, no. Let me finish. And so my point is then, okay, sure. But then what you find out is, even with the evidence so clear right in their face, at least half the people afterwards are like, yeah, but he's got that car and that place in Cabo, so I don't care.
I had someone text me that time. He said, well, look at the car he has. Look at the car you have.
It's incredible.
They didn't care. They were still going to give him money.
They don't care how he got there.
They didn't care how he got there. They don't realize he got the car because of idiots like you. They give him money. By the way, no one even knows where he is now. The kid could be in the trunk somewhere still locked up, and no one even knows where he is. It's like, where's Waldo? Where's Dave? No one even knows where he is. I'm dead serious. He's like totally abandoned everything. Maybe he finally something finally happened to him. I mean, I don't want nothing to happen to nobody, but I really.
What's next on your list? These are good. You really have a lot today. Yeah.
No,
because I think it's a good point about how there is something about what we do that still defaults.
Can't handle the reenactments.
Kelley,
I can't handle the reenactments.
Oh, they have reenactments.
The reenactments, yeah. The when listen, people are smarter than that, home. Are they smarter than that? Then they have to know that there's no way the reenactment was the casino. They were showing them drive out of the casino, and they were saying, "Oh my God, the casino sent people after us to steal the money back we just got from the cage."
So dumb.
Like people don't believe. Is there a percentage that believe?
Of course they do. Of course they do.
Yeah.
I'm amused by it. Like if they segue then, and now on November 4th, 2022, Gill Alexander walked from his bedroom to his bathroom.
Right, exactly.
Like it would be like, what was
you know what I'm sitting over here thinking about?
You're sick.
Well, you guys are talking about this. What I'm sitting here thinking about is Jason Weingarten at home finding plus EV opportunities on the McDonald's app. Like that is your that is the Sports Bettor app.
Yeah.
That's the real guy.
That's
the
right.
real
That's
sports.
exactly
No, I'm not saying this stuff couldn't have happened.
Because you know what, Kelley? Every time I still go downstairs and get something at McDonald's,
You think about that.
in my head, I'm like, Jason was right. I should be having the app here.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm not saying that stuff couldn't happen in the 70s when Tony Spilotro ran the town. Sure, just like the movie Casino, they had internal guys that would call up and say, hey, this guy's in room this guy's this, when there wasn't a lot of cameras, especially on the streets and stuff. Yes, that stuff could have happened. Absolutely. $4.5 million? Yeah, that's life-changing. Sure. But I'm not saying the casinos are doing it. I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
Of course not.
Like I said, this was baccarat. And the guy's challenging the shuffle. You cheated on that shuffle. Wait a minute.
But to answer your question, of course they believe it. People who watch that, of course they believe it. Because in their central casting, mind of what this is, oh, yeah, it's a nefarious world. Sure, it confirms their preconceived notion of it.
Right. All right, different subject.
Yes, sir.
So I watched someone get ridiculed this week for not knowing what all of his bets were. And I said to myself,
oh, my God, that's your life.
Do you know how many Sundays go by? I have no idea what I'm rooting for.
I'm pretty sure that's an exact line in the action documentary.
No, I have no idea what I'm rooting for.
The first day I met you, the first day we met, not the first day we talked, but the first day we met.
Right.
You won't remember this. Maybe you will. So Bill, I was having a great baseball season. I get a call on my phone. Bill Krackomberger, you don't know me, but I know you. I'm like, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to fly you into Vegas. No, you didn't fly me in. You're going to fly into Vegas. I'm going to put you up at the Golden Nugget. We're going to have a talk. I'm like, okay. So we go. You put me up at the Golden Nugget. You pick me up. I'm like, great. Bill Krackomberger's going to pick me up. You pick me up. He's got guys named Jimmy and Vinny in his truck with him. I go to the passenger seat. Bill's like, no, you're in the back. I'm like, what are they going to do with me? So anyway, we go to Piero's, right?
I touch a Bible. I don't remember any of this.
We go to
touch a Bible.
We go to Piero's. Swear to God, we go to Piero's. It's a Pittsburgh Steelers Monday night game. Thursday night, Monday night. I don't know what it was. And I say to Crack in the middle, I go, hey, Bill, because he's talking about all these bets they have. I go, this is the first time I've ever met him. What are you rooting for? He goes, I have no idea. Wow. That's the first time I ever met you.
I have terrible ADD, and that's a great story. You've never told me that story again.
What do you mean? It's us. We did it.
I know, but you never brought it up again.
Truck pulls up. It's like, you get in the back. I'm in the back with Jimmy and Vinny. I'm like, what am I doing? I didn't tell anybody I was with
Bill,
these guys.
I know you don't remember. Why do you have to get in the back? Do you have to work your way to the front? Is that like
listen, you're better off in the back than the front. You know what I mean? Hello, Carlo. If anyone knows what that means. Hello, Carlo. But yeah, but yeah, no, I wanted to know because listen, I am open right now, sitting here January 2024. I'm still open to finding anyone that wins handicapping-wise at something maybe they don't know yet. I'm open to learning more. I'm not one of those guys that say I can't learn anything. It's over. I know everything. So maybe I thought that you had something there, and I remember you had a winning baseball season.
2012, 2014, I had great baseball seasons, but 2013 I didn't. I had a bad baseball season.
Yeah. No. That's good. Good thing you didn't end up in the trunk 100 yards down from Caesars. 100 yards down.
So can you imagine getting a call like this, an unrecognized? Oh no, I don't know if you came up or
really,
because Kirk Chamberlain had given you my number apparently. As
I
found
forgot
out later.
That guy.
And
yeah, he did.
I've now heard this story a few times, but it's never not funny. It entertains me always.
And at the end of the night, I swear to God, at the end of the night, you said to me, you won't remember this either. Right. We're at the Golden Nugget. Billy says to me, he goes, "You're in my crew now." And outwardly, I'm like, yeah, I'm in your crew. In my head, I'm like, I don't want to be in your crew.
What does that mean?
I don't want to be in your crew.
I did hang around with two guys I still do, two guys from the Bronx, and that had to be them. But so anyway, I heard him get ridiculed and, well, you can't be a professional if you don't know what you're rooting for. Do you know how many bets we make? I mean, literally, I think I had 39 bets last weekend on different props, different quarters, first quarter bets, so lots of different things. And, of course, we don't know everything.
Well, you are a little different in that respect. Like, most of us do know what we're rooting for. You're definitely in a little different category.
And by the way, the bookmakers, the old school way of thinking, they wanted a lot of volume. Bookmaker would look at his sheet for the week and say, this guy made 30 bets. Good luck. Now, if you're making 30 bets, they're positive EV, though, so you don't want them being a bookmaker, whereas Joe Public betting first half game, full things, 30 bets, so they have no chance.
The point is to immediately ridicule because, hey, Bill, I don't know if you know this, but the people who are ridiculing others on Twitter, they know everything, right? Yeah. You can't. They've got it all figured out.
Anonymity.
They got it all figured out. The courage of anonymity. Yeah, we're all real scared about you. You can't judge by that. Coming back, Gill Alexander, Bill Krackomberger, and Kelley Bydlon. Kelley has spent the last 30 minutes watching every second of... What is it?
I gotta call me out. It's too funny, man.
Hustlers, whatever, hoodlums, I don't know what it is, and gamblers, which Bill and I apparently did not make the cut for.
I'm looking forward.
If it's it's not that show.
It can't be.
Can't be that show.
You guys have not been seen in this.
The turnaround's not. You're right. There must have been another show that had it at first.
No.
And by the way, if the guy said that he won money at roulette, believe it or not, roulette, because there was, if we all remember, Billy Walters famously made a deal with Steve Wynn in Atlantic City for roulette, put $1 million up, and he actually won. He actually won like $3.8 million against him with biased roulette wheels that weren't weighted correctly. And you just Google Billy Walters roulette wheel.
Wow.
It'll come right up. Matter of fact, the story comes right up when the 3.8. It's funny. Steve Wynn never gave him the $1 million back. This had to be illegal with gaming, but Billy didn't ask him for it. I guess Billy just said forget it because he didn't get the $1 million he posted up. Now, was he cheating? No. He was just going up to the wheel and betting based on the bias that he thought the wheel wasn't weighted correctly. And by the way, back then, so that's what I'm saying. This guy could have said he did it in blackjack, and I would have believed he made some money in blackjack many different ways. Like I've talked before, there's a doctor in this town that'll put you in a cast and it look like you got beat up or in a car accident and in a wheelchair, eye level to the table so you can hold card if you're sharp enough to hold card at the tables. They'll do. It's amazing. There's like ace sequencing, shuffle tracking, clumps of cards. There's a lot of different ways to beat blackjack. But
is the doctor in on it? Does he know does he know why he's doing this?
I think he does. Yeah. By the way, it's amazing how many gambling doctors I know.
Oh yeah.
That are basically just crazy out of control gambling. But they make enough money. I guess they can afford to do it, and some make not enough money. So, but that wasn't the purpose of me saying this. The purpose of it was, or he could have told me he won something in roulette by maybe a deep pocket roulette table. What I mean by that is, years ago, when roulette was first out in the 90s, I was just telling Kelley on the break, I knew a roulette dealer at Caesars in Atlantic City that would section a wheel. And every time I went to him, he would say, pick a number, Bill. So I'd pick a number, and he'd come within one or two. I mean, I remember the first time I picked 29, and bang, 29, he hit perfectly. He goes, I'll do it again. Next time again, 29, hit in and out, pop right next door to the next wheel. The next number. By his weight, by his strength of the spin? Like he said, he was dealing, just so happens coincidentally, he was dealing, this is his 29th year, he said. He's been dealing roulette every day, 5 days a week, every day for 29 years. The wheel goes around at a certain speed, and his ball speed is the same. Same thing with that money wheel, which is a sucker bet. Money wheel. He just had it figured out. If you release the ball or release your hand on the money wheel or the roulette, at a certain number, when a certain, let's say 00 goes by, you know what you're doing when many years of practicing, sitting there with that roulette wheel. There's been many shift managers, casino managers that have fired dealers, taken them off roulette. The dealers deny it, take them off roulette and not let them deal roulette again because they felt that this was happening or something like this. They were losing on one of the biggest sucker games, 5.26 house edge, even more now with 000 roulette, and these guys are sectioning wheels. But now there's been some defensive mechanisms put in called davits canoes. You know, the little canoes that are in the wheel now make it harder for a dealer to section a wheel. And the pockets aren't as deep on the roulette wheel as they were back in the day. So they said, well, years ago they would have a deep pocket because they figured they can get more spins, more decisions per hour. Just let it drop in the pocket, get the next.
Less bouncing around.
Less bouncing around. So now there's a thinner pocket, a little bit harder to do. But I still know dealers that are old school dealers that as long as it doesn't hit the canoe this way and hits the canoe this one instead gets in between, they could still get pretty close to sectioning a wheel, but much more difficult. So this kid could have said that, and I'm not going to give him any more press. We gave him enough press already. But I wanted to talk about that and talk about
Bill,
the roulette wheels.
Is there a certain point? I don't know the answer to this. Do they, when the roulette dealer, does he have to drop it at a certain point? Like, I guess I haven't paid close enough attention.
No, he's just going
whenever.
He goes by the bets that are on the board.
Okay.
And when people are slowing down making their bets, he'll roll it, and it'll spin around and around. And what will happen is he'll still let people make bets, and he'll just say no more bets and wave his hand.
Okay.
When was the last time you sat down at a roulette table?
Forever ago. That's right. I'm like, I haven't really paid attention to that. Right. But, Bill's example, right, where the guy's got it down, he just knows where his rhythm. So it's, okay, the zero passes me. If I know if I release it here, it's going to end up roughly here.
Right.
But, the wheel's constantly spinning. Yeah.
Next topic, Billy.
Fontainebleau.
Oh, boy.
So I went there a couple times during this past week. Why? I forget. But I went there originally. I wanted to go. I heard the pizza was great upstairs. So I wanted to go try the pizza place called Miami Slice. And to give them some credit, it's very good.
Really?
I was actually pleasantly surprised how good it was. Now, I will tell you, it's harder to find.
Because when I think Miami, first thing I think of is pizza.
That's right.
I mean, that's the menu. There's not many things. There's only 5 things on a menu.
Yeah.
However, if you notice, the cheapest slice is $8.
Yeah.
That's for a slice of pizza. And now, it comes to the table. It's beautiful. They put the cheese on. I didn't.
Looks beautiful.
No, it was actually a real thin, good slice of pizza.
Yep.
Lots of people in there, too. I just don't know. Do people afford 2 slices and a soda for $25? No, I'm just saying,
oh, it's crazy.
I'm just listen. I mean, I went to put it this way. I've been there twice now, so I mean, I'm an idiot.
Let me just ask you this, because we've talked about it briefly on this show prior to. Has there ever? I don't want to be prisoner of the moment. You've been here longer than I have. Has there ever been a worse opening than this one?
Pretty bad. I mean, and also you could have drove Sherman tanks through the place. There was no one there.
Yeah. I still haven't been.
I can't believe how empty it was.
I went once.
Wow, it shocked me because I went like the week after it opened, a couple days. It was packed that day. It was like 2 days after it opened. What are they going to do now in the heart of the winter here in February? And they're charging like ridiculous amount of money to sit down and the sports book.
It's a cursed area of the Strip, right?
Yes.
It's not really like in our mind's eye, the Strip southern point is Mandalay Bay, and the Strip's northern point is the Wynn and Encore.
Yeah.
Resorts World would argue with that, but okay, they're right across the street.
So we can extend it that far.
Extend it that far.
It's 100 more feet.
It's a 9 iron away.
Yeah.
Okay. It does not go to the Fontainebleau.
Yes.
That area is just kind of no man's land. And you would think that they would be aware of that and that they would take great measures to be locals friendly, forget locals, but just gambler friendly and patron friendly. And it just appears like they have done everything wrong.
Yeah.
You got to do something different.
Yes.
To set yourself apart, right? That is the.
Yes.
Did you see the nachos that went viral, by the way?
The nachos is a big thing. So, by the way, we have the Vegas Lifestyle Podcast. Vegas Lifestyle Podcast is next week, the annual one. And was it Palm Readers or somebody on Twitter was like, you got to get to the bottom of this nachos thing to see if it's real or not. But apparently it is. So it's just like
there is. Yeah. So this was the original. This was the original post. Someone complaining about
that. There?
They said
they waited an hour for food at the sportsbook for their nachos, and they got back literally 5 chips.
Now
my God!
This went so viral, Bill, that they changed it. They've changed it.
Now they're giving you 6 chips.
They're giving you nachos, and Matt, I don't know if we have that video, but you can roll it. But then apparently this picture went so viral that apparently people have been coming back in asking for the original nachos.
Oh my God!
The 5 chips.
The 5 nachos.
I want that 5-chip one, please.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what they currently
there's a nice video.
Yes, this is what they look like now.
Oh,
apparently.
okay. Interesting.
Anyway,
I hope they do survive, but they have to start buying business. In other words, you have to give people. When I say buying business, you have to start giving back to the customer, something to get them into that portion of the strip. Maybe even entice locals and give them some kind of deals and stuff. Instead, over there, what's happening is they're firing executives at a big clip.
Yeah.
I think they fired 3 executives, or they left. You know, they say departed on their own terms, but usually that means they're given an ultimatum. So either
also the thing is, there is also something in our brains where you have to. I don't know if I'm going to say this right, but there is in my head anyway the thing where you have to earn something. So like, you know, obviously the strip now with sports books, yeah, big day events, they're charging. Now, I would argue some of them have gone crazy, like Caesars on December 31st trying to charge for seats on bowls on December 31st is ridiculous. But for the big events, we get it. But Caesars has been around for a long time. Wynn has been around for a long time. They have earned that over time. You can't just show up and say, we're going to charge you, $5,000 right out of the gate. It's like, well, you're doing what? Where you are on the strip? Like, what are you thinking?
You're right.
I'm starting with a sign. That's the first thing I'm starting at. It's just a sign on the building like every other casino hotel in Las Vegas. And then, there is so many ways to do something different, right? You throw a $5 blackjack tables down there.
That's
fine.
right.
You can't find that anywhere else on the strip. Why do you think so many people are at Treasure Island and stuff like that? Because they can get cheap table games. Like, do something like that.
It's just remarkable you could get it wrong so consistently. It's remarkable. Did you do any due diligence?
You're right.
We'll come back more with Bill Krackomberger. Let's see what he's betting this weekend as well. It's a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting movement here, a little bit of movement.
Yes.
San Francisco 49ers money is coming.
DraftKings 7.5. Dog $1.12. Sharp sportsbook that I respect. Far off play 7.5 minus 11. I'm guessing Debo, no matter what, even though he's not going to be practicing, they will tape, stitch, duct tape, anything they can to get him on that field. And I'm guessing he's playing because now I see the total at Circa just went from 51 to 52.
And I grabbed my 7 here as this was happening before it disappears.
Yeah, no, I just Googled Debo, and, I'm not really seeing anything that would cause this movement.
Right.
Oh, wait a minute. I see a Schefter tweet, but the Schefter tweet is Debo will not practice today. His status remains uncertain, per Kyle Shanahan. Well, Shanahan's probably not going to give out that information.
Here's my question for you. Will 7.5 become the point of resistance? Will we start to see Detroit money at that point?
I have a Baltimore future that I gave out to my guys, my crack win guys, and I bet it myself. So I need Baltimore just to win the game, to win the AFC there. And but, however, if they put a hook on that game, 4.5, I am tempted. Because now it's pretty solid 4.
Oh, I'm hoping.
I mean, 4.5. You're dealing with one thing, Patrick Mahomes. So I don't know if he's ever been that much of a dog ever. I'm sure he's never been a dog in the playoffs like that. But a 4.5 point dog. Now, granted, Baltimore's playing great, but you remember Baltimore. They lost to the Steelers one week. I remember that. Not that they're not they're the best team in football. We've proven that after they went into San Fran and dominated them. Which by the way, usually what happens is a team like San Fran would learn off that game. It'd be really tough to go against them again and domination happen again. So, but yeah, you don't have to bet the sides. I know most people do. You don't have to have a side in the game. There's other ways to attack this game. There's some juicy. Let me just tell you. I'll just say it. I think DraftKings may still have this line. There's some juicy first quarter lines out there. There's other ways to attack this game rather than. I like betting the dog. By the way, just so people don't say, well, you didn't say what you liked in the first quarter. If you can get a first quarter on the game, last week was Green Bay was a great bet first quarter, not just because it won, but it was a really good bet first quarter.
We talked about that.
You guys did?
That was about kickoff, receiving, and deferring, which you had that perfect storm with Shanahan on the floor.
That's exactly right. See, I didn't know you guys talked about that.
And that got home.
And that did get home.
Yeah.
There's some things to bet, some first quarter stuff. They had, you may even look towards the alternate line. They have alternate first quarter lines.
Well, that came up on the Megapod yesterday with Cleve TA. He is betting, forget first quarter. He's talking about full game. He's betting some San Francisco alt lines.
Yeah,
in the full game.
You can bet some. I'm not really a big fan of alt lines in general, but I'm more of the secondary market alternate line. Sounds weird, but alternate lines in general have a lot of juice. So. You'll bet something alternate line. Now you're going to lay 115 or even 120 each way on an alternate line compared to 110 on a regular game line. So
no, I'm talking about the opposite. I'm talking about he's going to lay more money and go for plus money.
Okay. Yeah, he'll lay like 13 and a half points, something like that.
Well, I'm talking about the same thing. By laying that 13 and a half, you're taking, let's say, 2-1, but the other side of that, you're laying 280. So there's a bigger margin in between than just betting the game straight, in my opinion. It's just you're talking about double, triple the juice on something like that rather than a 4.5% hold on a game line. So, and I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying, and going back to this particular game, I know a sharp syndicate group that likes the under on this game at 51.5. Now it went to 52. San Fran.
Detroit San Fran.
Yeah, Detroit San Fran. 52 at Wynn, 52 here at Circa, and I'm sure in some other places it's going to go to 52. I really appreciate what South Point does. They don't add juice onto anything.
That's right.
They have a 7 flat on that game. The last 7 really on that game is at South Point. 4 and 44.5 on the total. On the other game, 4. They will not add juice. They'll go to 3.5 or go to 4.5. I don't see this game coming back down to the 3, by the way. I heard people say that.
No,
I do not see this game coming back down to the 3.
But that's why I asked you about the Niners and Lions. Do you think it will come back down to 7?
I don't know. Listen, San Fran is the new America's team. Everyone loves San Fran up until they seen Purdy last week throwing the ball in the rain. And I'll still, this is not going to be rain this week. It's supposed to be nice weather.
It's supposed to be nice, yeah.
But I'll tell you, 6 weeks ago, this guy was the favorite to win the MVP. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. We know the MVP is. We know that Jackson's going to be the MVP. And
he was the favorite, and I would argue until that horrible performance, he probably would have won it.
Yeah, no. But anyway, I just tell you, you don't have to bet the sides. I know everyone wants to bet a side, and I'm sure most people will, and that's exactly what the sports books want you to think. They don't want you to look into the secondary markets. They want you to bet the game and then maybe look into a secondary market or, there may be good opportunities for for live wagering here too. This could be a live wagering weekend for me, and I don't really do a lot of live.
I was going to say I didn't know you to be that guy.
Not really. But Detroit's a good offensive team. There could be back and forth powerhouse teams here. There could be good opportunity if you're getting more points. If San Fran comes right out with a touchdown and you're getting 10.5 with Detroit or something, I don't know. I think then it matters who gets the ball first and stuff. There could be good opportunities here, though. Now, I didn't ask you guys. Well, so what are you leaning to? San Fran, you bet.
San Fran.
Give me the other game.
Didn't touch the side of the other game.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. So
didn't touch it.
You didn't touch the Baltimore game.
Nope.
Yeah, everyone, like I said, you don't have to do it. But I know people do it, and
I mean, my instinct would be Baltimore, quite frankly, but I don't want to. I'm not like racing to bet against Patrick Mahomes. So,
My last thing here that I wanted to get in before we close. Why don't people use those exchanges more? Who are the people we had dinner with?
I was just talking about this the other day. Yeah.
Who do we have dinner with? Those guys, nice guys. Were they Profit Exchange?
Dean and Jake from Profit Exchange. Yeah.
Really nice guys.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
they've been on the show.
Yeah. Good guys. We had dinner with them, and I just don't understand how people don't. I wish they had this here.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
What would you rather lay? You'd rather lay 101 on both sides, and they take 1% or something, 2%.
Yeah.
So
we wouldn't be talking about these apps ever. So we'd be ever. I'd be like, I don't care. I'm on the exchange.
You're laying 103 after commission on each side. Would you rather pay $1.03 going out to eat somewhere for something, or $1.10, $110 or $103? This is a no-brainer. How can you not put your money in Profit Exchange? Because they don't have all that marketing budget that the big books have. No one really knows about them. They should know about them. Hopefully I'm helping them here because I want to help the player. I'm not looking to really help the book. I'm looking to help the player, save you money.
They're also in New Jersey specifically.
In New Jersey.
Yeah.
But I'll even go further than that. they don't have the fancy ads and the fancy things. I understand that the other companies have. People don't like not getting a bonus. So you'd rather get a $100 sign-up bonus, where even if you bet $10 grocery dollars a game, or $20 a game, in the end, the bonus is going to equal much more playing in one of the exchanges than betting the big books. I'm not saying don't have the big books. Let me tell you something. You need the big book. If the big books will book you, you need a mixture of the big books and the exchanges in your arsenal.
And did you see that story this past weekend about Mattress Mac, although he denies it?
Oh, I heard about it, but I don't know if it was. And that made for a lot of arbitrage between
correct.
What the ESPN book?
The ESPN bet and the exchanges,
ESPN bet, which they're I'm hearing that they don't take any bets over there, but that off Mattress Mac, of course they're going to take his bets. Frankly, I'm sick and tired of hearing his name.
Never hear it on this show.
No, oh, really?
Never hear it on this show.
Good man. Good man.
Because you know what? People make bets like that offshore every day. So
that's right. That's right. Not only that, here too.
I'm sure he's
Circa, I know for a fact, took a sick bet last week, like right before game time. So they went to 10.5. A lot of places went to 10.5 on that Green Bay game. Last couple of minutes, I was like, wow, 10.5 points, unbelievable.
Yeah.
And Green Bay probably should have won. So
I'm sure he's a lovely man. I'm just not as fascinated as others are with the whole story, with the whole saga. Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having so many things to talk about today.
Wow. Hopefully help the public a little bit.
I like it. Bill Krackomberger, everybody, at Bill Crackman with a K. The name of the podcast is Wise Cracks with Bill Krackomberger. Megapod is out with Cleve TA, Will Hill, Todd Wishnev, and myself. The Beating the Book Megapod. That is available as well.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.